NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5090 and 5080 graphics card to debut at CES 2025 and 14-layer PCB with single 12V 2x6 power with PCIe 5.0 and DisplayPort 2.1a support. We got our taste of first specification of the upcoming high-end option with RTX 50 Blackwell GPU lineup and the GeForce RTX 5090 and 5080 two cards will be the top of the line for gamers around the world when the debut, and it looks like that Benchlife has some more information given us on the idea what to expect from the next generation offerings. And starting with the launch, it looks like Benchlife states that the NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5090 and 5080 are going to be debuted at CES 2025. So guys, the rumors about the card releasing early in 2024 rumors, that was not correct because they are debuting their cards at CES 2025. But we also know that NVIDIA plans to launch a China specific variation of the 5090 known as the 5090D. Since the Chinese New Year takes place on the 29th of January, that would be the most ideal time frame to launch the graphics card. And the RTX 50 laptop GPUs are also set to make a showcase at CES 2025, with OEM market anxiously anticipating the availability of new GPUs to power their latest AMD and Intel powered PCs for gamers and enthusiasts. And considering the NVIDIA has reportedly finalized the design, it will take a few months before the products are ready to be shipped from retail, and it makes sense to introduce the card at January CES 2025. The current generation RTX 40 series was announced in September and launched in October, with the RTX 4090 hitting retail shelves first, followed by the RTX 4080 in November, and then the Green Team are also reportedly preparing the discontinuation process of its RTX 4090 4090D GPUs next month to make room for the newer flagships, as NVIDIA GeForce RTX 50 series GPUs are also going to feature a brand new design which encompasses the PCB, cooling solution and power delivery. If we talk about the 5090 in particular, is expected to utilize 3 individual PCBs, each housing different components of the chip. So guys, as far as the 3 PCB concept rumors were true, so they are using 3 PCB in which every component is placed, and we have previously detailed what the PCB might look like. But from what we know, the primary PCB that houses the GPU will consist of 16 DDR7 memory module, each with 3 GB of VRAM capacity and running at the speed ranging between 28 to 32 GB per second. This will provide the highest VRAM solution ever on the consumer tier graphics card, totaling of 32 GB across a 512-bit interface and reaching up to 2.0 TB per second of bandwidth. And other changes that includes the new Founder Edition design, which is said to utilize a compact dual slot cooling solution for RTX 5090, but it is not clear if the RTX 5090 and 5080 would share the same Foundry Edition cooling as that was the case with 4090 and 4080, but we are not sure about the 5090 and 5080. But overall looks and presentation will be different from the RTX 30 and 40 series. And if you can see here the rough leak of the PCB, so this is the PCB1, in middle PCB2 and in last PCB3, all are connected with the same chip, and they are using fan 1 and fan 2, same like 4090 but with the 3 different layout design. And if we see the second configuration with the cooler style, the top and the bottom is also connected, or you can say the back and the front, and the fans are in the top and the middle, or you can say from left to right if you can see another perspective view. But these are what we have known so far. Also, there have been recent rumors that NVIDIA GeForce RTX 5090 might end up with dual 12V 2x power connector, but that's not going to be the case, because talking to few AIB partners, they told that there might be certain enthusiast design made for LN2 overclocking. LN2 stands for liquid nitrogen, and overclocking for 16-pin connector, but the Foundry Edition and the majority of AIB model will feature a single connector rather than 3 8 pins. There are already dual 16-pin RTX 4090 cards on the market, and those are again geared towards enthusiast overclockers so it won't much of a surprise as being made out. And on the other hand, where it is 400 watt GeForce 5080 or the 600 watt for RTX 5090, they can only be used as a single 12 volt 2x16 connector, and there is no two set of 12 volt on the GeForce 5090 as reported by some medias. With that said, the 600 watt and 400 watt TBP figures don't represent actual power consumption, which will be lower than we have seen in our previous generation in 4090, and that was rated at much higher TDP of 450 watt than the 3090, but it ended up consuming less power in games than the RTX 3090 Ti and RTX 3090. Besides the launch and design of the next gen RTX 50 series, NVIDIA is also planning to introduce new features in the Blackwell gaming GPU lineup. So the features highlighted are supported for 5.0 PCIe specs. The current iteration of AMD, Intel and NVIDIA GPUs are all PCIe 4.0 compliant, with RTX 40 series only featuring the 5.0 and 5.1 CM support through their power ports interface. The only GPU that has PCIe support through the slot is the Moore's Thread MTT line, which is confined to Chinese marketplace and has a very poor gaming performance. And NVIDIA's GeForce RTX 50 graphics card will end up being the first to support the new standard, offering dual bandwidth transfer speed versus PCIe 4.0 and taking advantage of the latest motherboards from Intel and AMD. And if you talk about the Intel, the Z890, and if you talk about the AMD X870E with a housing of 5.0 slots for a while now, we don't expect the next gen lineup for fully saturate the PCIe 5.2 bandwidth or even PCIe 4.2 times 16, but there can be certain workload and applications such as AI that may take the advantage of the extra bandwidth. And in the new card is also coming with the DisplayPort 2.1a. The next gen line is also expected for the future, and this will allow NVIDIA GeForce RTX 50 graphics card to be certified for compatibility with the DP80 displays, providing up to 80 GB of bandwidth or double that of HDMI 2.1 interference. With the UHBR20, the GPUs will be available to support the 16K display at 60 Hz. Now that's a very huge display if we check or see here, with HDR and 10-bit color width, offering insane refresh at low resolution. And the launch of the GeForce RTX 50 graphics card include the RTX 5090 and 5080 will mark a new beginning for the PC segments, while the competition has moved to compete in the mainstream and entry level. In here, the mainstream, they are talking about the AMD and Intel. NVIDIA will be seen as one of the cater to all segment for enthusiasts to budget users, and expect more of the information maybe this week or the next, but more information will be coming out in the coming weeks. And these are some of the GPUs that they pull the data off, and the clock speed, the most important thing, are not confirmed and they needed to be confirmed, but the memory speed they told us were 28 to 32 gigabyte per second, with the bus memory in 5090 is 512 and 256 in 5080.